I'm Darian Dizon.
My name is Alex Taylor.
I'm Meg.
My name is Peter John Reinman.
Hey, I'm Aishwarya.
My name is Nicholas Bao.
Hello, my name is Melanie.
My name is Laya.
I'm Alexander. I'm Allison Hampton.
Okay, so my name is Adriana Medina.
My name is James.
Okay, I'm Bibi.
My name is Tiana.
I'm Richard Villanueva.
My name is Claire Coe.
My name is Cameron Cornejo.
I am Yasmin.
So my name is Lisa Jablonski Clark.
My name is Shani Rivera, and I am a high school English teacher.
I am a middle school art teacher.
I'm a student teacher at Homestead High School.
I'm a sophomore. I'm interested in volleyball and music.
I'm currently in a 10th grade, a sophomore.
I'm a freshman, and I like diving in fire.
I'm a freshman. I am interested in like cheer and all-star cheer.
I work at Starbucks, but I also teach dance at Cupertino High School.
I'm a sophomore. My interests are reading, writing, doing art.
I'm a teacher.
I'm in the 9th grade. I'm a sophomore, so I'm in 10th grade.
I'm a sophomore.
I am a sophomore at Homestead High School.
I'm a freshman, 9th grade, and my interests include skiing.
I am in 9th grade. I'm a freshman. I like to draw and write.
I'm in 9th grade.
I work at Chipotle.
My interest is like reading and, whatever profession.
I'm in grade 10. I'm a sophomore. And I identify as a lesbian.
Oh, I identify as lesbian.
I identify as bisexual.
And I identify as gay.
I identify as bisexual.
I'm bi, I guess you could say. Yeah, I'm bi.
I'm bisexual.
I identify as bisexual.
I identify as gay.
I'm a bisexual.
I currently identify myself as a pansexual.
I identify as gay.
Probably genderqueer, or gender nonconforming, or gender bent, and gay.
I identify as gay.
I identify as a gay person.
I'm bisexual, or pansexual if you want to get into that.
And I identify as gay.
And I'm bisexual.
And my identity is gay.
I identify as bisexual.
I feel like I kind of always knew, like back in throughout middle school, but I just never came to terms with it.
Probably when I was around in 7th grade, I became bi, and that's what and then over the time I'm just I have been more attracted to guys. So.
I think I probably realized in 6th or 7th grade.
I was 24, so a little bit later probably than most.
In elementary school, I don't know really when, but I felt like I always liked girls. I always felt different.
I knew I wasn't straight when I was probably in late elementary school, maybe early middle school.
It doesn't matter who you are with, really. It just all depends on love. It doesn't matter if you're a guy, you're a girl, if you're a trans.
I first realized it middle of 7th grade.
I think I probably was very young, 5 or 6, or realizing oh, all these kids are saying that they have crushes on girls, or all these boys are saying they have crushes on girls, and I just didn't have that. But I didn't admit it to myself till I was probably about 16.
I was in 7th grade, and I realized I didn't really care about people's gender, and I was more attracted to their personality and stuff.
My 7th grade year in middle school.
In middle school, I had this really great friend of mine, and I just remember one day I felt just a different way towards her, and I really liked her.
Oh God, I was 10. I realized in 5th grade.
I think I might have been around 13, but I kind of always knew before then that I was into boys. Just I didn't know what it was called, or if it was called something. Yeah.
Looking back
back at it now, I realized that I kind of experienced it in the 7th grade, but I didn't know until the 8th grade when I actually started, you know, introducing myself to like other girls and kind of getting comfortable with myself about it.
It's kind of funny, I grew up thinking that that was the norm, and that people who subscribed to heterosexuality, I thought that that was like a social construct, and that if people weren't socialized, that just naturally we were all kind of bisexual.
I wanted to hang out with like all of the cool boys, and at the time I guess I didn't realize that I was gay, but like I always wanted to like be around them and I wanted to hang out with them.
I first realized when I was texting one of my friends trying to get with this girl, and then I was like, the way he talked, I was like, hey, I think I like him. And I was like, maybe I do.
I actually remember the very specific moment when one of my friends leaned over me to grab something from behind me, and her face got really close to mine, and the first thing I thought was lips.
Every day. Almost daily.
More than 5 times a day.
I have had dyke used against me as an insult.
But I hear those words all the time, and I'm a little bit insulted.
Walking across the quad, however, yeah, I'll hear it and go talk to kids about, you know, the pejorative language they're using.
You know, I'm grateful I don't hear it a whole lot, and maybe that's just because kids know not to use those words in my classroom, otherwise they'll get a whooping. I do hear them. Sometimes I'll be at a store or a restaurant. Sometimes I say something, sometimes I don't.
I hear them more, not actually as an insult, but just as like common vernacular now, like kind of like how the N-word is used in rap. Same deal, like people just using it, like thinking it's, you know, it's okay.
Well, I have heard gay being used as an insult as towards like people being cowardly or whatever.
I hear these words expressed a lot when going outside into social media.
Probably on social media. That's the one place that I would hear it.
I hear faggot being used a lot. Like, I just hear it all the time.
All the time. The people at my school are idiots, and just, they use it all the time. They call each other faggot, and it's really annoying because I can't tell them anything, they won't listen to me.
In high school, I definitely heard it a lot in the context to me and to the people that wanted to associate with me. And it was like frequent, it was like every day. In PE class, definitely. If I was like trying to just get to class, there were like things always like shouted.
When I was younger, I definitely heard it a lot more.
I've heard it a little bit, but not as much as I used to. So I don't know if I'm just not hearing it or that the perception is changing, or if they're just not saying that stuff at the middle school level as much.
I've heard it actually a lot by my sister, but I don't take it as like, I don't think that she's offending me, but she always calls me those words.
If I'm on the street, I hear it a little bit, but not a lot.
I hear that a lot, especially faggot. That's towards a lot of people, even if they're gay, straight, anything. And I've been called a dyke. I've just been called such lewd things because people aren't accepting of what people are, and some people just use it out of context, and it's just rude.
It kind of like makes me feel sick because knowing that it's 2017, the LGBTQ community is like thriving, and like it just really sucks on how people can still be stubborn and say these kind of stuff.
It makes me feel like uncomfortable. Like these people probably don't know that there are like LGBT people near them, but it makes me feel more uncomfortable near them.
Definitely makes me feel uncomfortable and a little bit mad at people that say it.
When they're insultive, I'm kind of like, I don't know if I'm super offended, but I'm just kind of like confused as to why people would think it's like okay.
When I first hear it, it kind of makes me like kind of uncomfortable and hurt.
I kind of feel, if it's towards someone or it's towards me, I feel really sad and upset, and I tell them not to say those words because they're really offensive.
Oh, it upsets me. It's like, if I heard someone using the word faggot out of context to make fun of someone, I usually go up to that person and say, don't use that word because it can offend someone.
It pisses me off, like, really easily. And I remember when I was younger, I would do the same thing. Like, I never felt hurt, but I immediately get angry, and then I realize why I'm angry. It's because they scare me. And the reason it scares me is because it kind of shows what kind of person who's ever saying it is.
It also hurts, not just for me, because I know how resilient I've become, but for other people that maybe don't have the strength, it bothers me. I know, like, when I hang out with people and they use terms like that, one of my first things is to, like, hey, like, cut it out, like, that's not okay.
Even when people, this was popular like 5 or 6 years ago, when they would say, oh, that's so gay, you know, like, meaning, oh, that's so stupid, I think that I would get kind of mad because you're using that as an insult. And, you know, it would be just, to me, those words too are the same as using the N-word, and like they have the same power, and I think that they should make people as mad as when you use that, because you're using it as an insult, as a derogatory term, when really, you know, you're insulting someone for who they are. So I don't see that as any different than using a racist term. So it makes me pretty mad when I hear that.
I think we're scared of anything that is other than us in general. So anything we don't know, we fear naturally. So
there's always like the stigma against people who don't like seem normal, and so LGBTQ students are considered out of the norm, so that's why they're bullied, I guess.
I think it might have to do something with history about LGBTs. They think that they are abnormal.
Because of how history has treated them, and that people aren't smart enough to try and treat or teach the new generation that it's not that big of a deal.
One of the reasons why is probably based on their like religion, or like people think it's unnatural, like
because it's something that they're not used to. It's something that they were raised not to like be most of the time.
We are a minority. We're not seen as the same as them.
Because people aren't like super used to something that's different, or they don't quite understand how someone can like someone or identify as a different sexuality.
I don't know, I feel like maybe they just don't understand what like we're going through, and like they just don't understand.
I think personally that they're just different and they don't know how to cope with that. And also, people have been making fun of like queers or gays, lesbians for centuries, and that's what just what people do, you know.
I think because a lot of teenagers focus, well, just like I said, just kind of on their own experiences, and need to work on their empathy skills a little bit, just to figure out how other people's experiences are. And I think if people did that, they'd be nicer to each other.
Maybe if it was someone in their friend group, they might treat them a little bit differently. Like say if it was, you know, a group of guys and another guy came out to the guys and they were like, oh, well, you know, does that mean you like me? And they might be kind of weird about it in that way. I could see that happening at the middle school level.
Teenagers really try to find a certain group to connect with, and anyone outside of that group, they automatically think are outsiders.
They treat them differently because they're not familiar. My experience is that at least from my perspective, is that they weren't sure. They didn't know what to expect or what outcome, which is really silly because, I mean, we're people, we're not creatures.
I think they just don't understand. I think we're taught that different is wrong rather than accepting differences. So I think that it really is a matter of our adults teaching our children that we need to be accepting one another and not just tolerate one another.
I'm kind of afraid of like how my dad will react when he finds out.
Yeah, not like physically unsafe, but I definitely felt uncomfortable with like people who I knew weren't very accepting, or kind of felt like I couldn't really be myself around them and I couldn't be friends with them because of that.
Like, most of the time when people call me gay, it's just like as a joke, because they know I am actually gay. But sometimes, even though I know it's a joke, I kind of take it to heart, and it hurts.
So my dad is a pastor, so coming out to him was a big deal, because he thinks that being gay is a sin that will send you to hell. So when I came out, he kicked me out of the house, so that was something huge to overcome, and I had to muster a lot of confidence, a lot of strength in order to get to that point of telling him, like, hey, this is who I am and I can't change it.
Where I have felt like mildly uncomfortable, but again, that's probably because like people have been using like words against the LGBTQ community near me, so.
I actually have, because like just coming out to people, it's really frightening because you don't know what's gonna happen, and especially like how life is right now in 2017. There's new things happening. Like it just like makes you really feel insecure about things.
Kind of just like glancing over at someone, not even like checking them out, and they would immediately call me a faggot or something like that.
My friends who are gay or lesbian, you know, they'll tell me, you gotta choose, you know.
The name calling and honestly, verbal bullying. There are times in PE class that not only the boys would make fun of me, but a lot of the girls that hung out with a group of boys, they would, like, when they separate us into teams, they would be like, how come you're letting him beat you? Like, he's gay. Like, how come, like, you can't beat him? He's a faggot.
Because in middle school, all throughout, I've been bullied, and as soon as they figured out I was identifying myself as bisexual, I was afraid that they would use that against me every day and spread it when I didn't want it to be spread.
People looking at me weird and always asking me questions and telling me that, oh no, you're not, it's a phase.
I faced a lot of harassment, like name calling, like people used to make fun of me because of my choices.
And I worry about repercussions from parents who are maybe more conservative, you know, extreme, like wanting to pull their kids out of the class or think I'm gonna like influence them in some way. So that's always a fear.
People have had people tell me that, you know, they don't want to see that kind of behavior, or the kids shouldn't see that kind of behavior, and usually I just push back real fast.
These are really sad. I think the one that stands out to me the most, well, a lot of these, it's hard to pick one, but the kids that were committed suicide after nothing was done at school.
The LGBTQ youth are more than twice as likely to experiment with drugs and alcohol.
Students who are more frequently discriminated or victimized due to their sexual orientation or gender identity have lower GPAs and a higher chance of dropping out. And then LGBTQ students are twice as likely to not complete high school or plan to go to college.
Jamie Rodemeyer, age 14, was an openly bisexual teenager and an LGBTQ activist. His YouTube video described his experience and meant to put down homophobia, including "It gets better, I promise," quote. On September 18, 2011, Rodemeyer committed suicide by hanging after constant bullying in school and receiving death threats online.
LGBTQ youth are 2 to 6 times more likely to commit suicide. I can attest to that. I've cut myself. It's not pretty. It may feel nice, but it's not worth it. I have these scars forever.
Ronan Shimizu dropped out of his middle school and committed suicide after constant bullying and abuse, such as homophobic remarks and death threats for being a male cheerleader. He was 12 years old.
According to the Human Rights Campaign, 26% of the LGBTQ youth say their biggest problems are not feeling accepted by their family, bullying, and fear of coming out, while 22% of non-LGBTQ youth say their biggest problems are grades in school.
In the 2015 GLSEN School Climate Survey, 57.6% of harassed LGBTQ students did not report the incident, believing the situation would only get worse or nothing would change. 63.5% of those who did report said the staff did not do anything or told the students to just ignore it.
Tyrone Unsworth, at 13 years old, committed suicide after classmates said they wanted him dead for being gay.
Number 6, shortly before his 18th birthday, Aiden Rivera Schaff committed suicide due to his female-to-male transition. Classmates referred to Aiden as she or it before dropping out.
Probably the 1/3 of LGBTQ students are physically assaulted and 2 out of 3 are sexually assaulted or harassed.
I don't know if I can pick just one. All the ones that have to do with suicide. I don't understand it. I honestly don't. Just thinking about, you know, if my daughter or nieces or nephews or siblings had to experience this, I think would make me fly into a rage. So they all bother me.
I think like visibility is huge, of just being able to talk about it, and how else? Standing up for sure when you hear something that is like outright heteronormative or something, just realizing like, hey, there are other people, there are other feelings, there are other orientations. Also getting involved and going to your GSA or whatever you have at your school. So.
Not using slurs against them, even if, or like talking badly about the community, educating themselves, because even if they don't think that they know a person who's in the LGBTQ community, like statistically speaking, it's very likely that you know at least one person. So educating yourself and making sure that you're more informed and you're not like spewing like stereotypes or anything, I think that can help make people feel less unsafe.
To give them physical and support costs, letting them know that you'll be here for when they need you.
Just show that they're not alone and that they don't have to fight this alone.
I like when my friends will bring up something that they've seen in the news. They're like, oh my gosh, isn't that so great that that's happening? Or, oh, that's terrible that that's happening. I think just that solidarity, them just being allies and letting you know that they're allies, I just think that's good.
Or it's just like, just to get over it, like, you know that this year, everything is changing. You know, our community is actually like kind of sickening on how some people are, you know, just still bullying on your sexuality. Like, that's not okay, but like but people in our community need to face the fact that there will be people that will bring you down, but there are people that will support you. And we need to main focus on people who are supporting us than the people who are bringing us down.
You know, like I immediately talk to them and make them feel comfortable. I make them feel like, especially at Chipotle, that it's okay to be you here. And fortunately at this store, there's a lot of us who are gay and bisexual. A lot of people on our staff are gay and bisexual, and we go the extra mile to actually to make sure that everyone feels comfortable and feels comfortable being who they are around everybody else. So.
I mean, by not teasing other people about being who they are.
Definitely just being more comfortable with talking to each other about it, especially if you know someone that is struggling with it, and just being open to them about it will help them be more open about it for themselves.
I guess just like letting them know that you like accept them and that you don't have anything against them. And if you see someone being harassed for their sexuality or gender or anything, then just like stand up to them, not stand up to them, stand up for them, sorry. And yeah, just like make your presence known as like a supporter and ally.
Stand up for what is honestly moral. It's not about right or wrong. It's about respect. If someone says something, things should be like, someone calls you a name, things should be said without like starting a fight, but even gentle reminders of like, hey, that's not appropriate.
We need to create like maybe a community where someone can come and like be able to like just openly talk about anything with no judgment whatsoever. And I know that there are probably like, there are definitely some types of communities like that here at Homestead. I know there's GSA.
You should like support that person and, you know, always be there for them and make them not feel alone, because you aren't alone.
They should stand up for what they hear and tell teachers and even parents, or just like anyone, like an adult that you really trust, tell that you hear these things so they can put a stop to it at school.
Just stand with them. I mean, that sounds pretty basic of a response, but really, that's what you gotta do. Just make them feel at home. Talk to them, converse with them, and, you know, talk about it. Don't leave it out.
Just help them, because they might be going through something themselves, and they might be being harassed, and you should help them with the harassment and like support them through it, where they can just get rid of it or do something about it.
I think like they shouldn't treat them any different. Like before they found out that they're an LGBTQ youth, or they shouldn't treat them any differently. Like they're still the same person.
Be open, be accepting, be loving, be compassionate. If you have questions or you don't understand something, ask, but just, you know, ask kindly. Ask, you know, how people want to be gendered or whatever. I just feel like the conversations are not that hard, but people are just afraid to ask.
We need to stop treating gay like it's a bad word, especially around children. If we open them up to the idea that being gay is okay and expose them to the word more, then they will grow up not, you know, thinking of the idea of being gay as something different and worth discriminating for. So that way we could potentially start a whole new generation of kids who no longer believe that being gay is a bad thing or inherently makes you less masculine or less feminine or whatever. And that way we can stop bullying people just for what they want to do and who they love, and people will stop dying because of it.
So just encourage kids just to be who they are, and that is only one part of you. It does not define you as who you are. It's only one part of who you are. Straight people don't walk around saying, oh hey, you know, I'm Lisa and I'm straight. It's so ridiculous that it's such a defining thing. It's just part of who you are, and that's it. So it's just accepting it as a part of who you are and being okay with yourself. And I think that goes on a lot of levels, just being okay with who you are, how you dress, what you look like, what your religion is, what your race is. I think that kind of self-acceptance and encouraging that kind of self-acceptance would go really far, not only with, you know, the LGBT community, but just with kind of society and the pressures in general to kind of fit in and fit a certain mold.
just be their friend, you know, be there for them. They're normal people too. Sexuality doesn't define, how do I say this in a way? It doesn't define who you are. Your personality defines who you are. Your sexuality is a big part, but it's not everything about you.